Well, it's a famous stomping ground for presidential candidates. I'm talking about the Iowa State Fair happening right now. Joe Biden delivered a stump speech yesterday. He also posed for photos with kids and locals. And of course, the fair is famous for its fried food and all those butter sculptures, like that one. But a lot of people are talking about one part of Biden's speech from yesterday. Why don't you take a listen and then we'll discuss.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Look, I understand he misspoke, but let's not disregard the message here, because education is a form of social injustice in America. Why should your level of education be determined on how much money mommy or daddy or your grandfather has?
But that's a socioeconomic argument.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because why is it that in 2019, people from low-income housing, they're the first of their families to ever go to college? That's not a socioeconomic problem here, because back in the day, blacks or people of color weren't allowed in a lot of these colleges, let alone Ivy League colleges. So this is something, I get it. Fox News, everyone's going to make fun of Joe, Crazy Joe, Touchy Joe, whatever, he misspoke, but let's not disregard the true message when it comes to education.
I appreciate that. Did he miss the mark when he delivered that message?
Yes,
he did, but the message, you're absolutely right. There's a disproportionate disadvantage when it comes from people from low socioeconomic statuses that does disproportionately affect people of color. Let's keep it 100. I wish he would have said it like that. And we don't talk about that not only in education, but with an internet inequality. I had no idea, Jeff, that 30% of our country has zero access to the internet. Zero. And that 30% of the country is lower income neighborhoods. So if you have a child in 4th grade who's dependent on the internet to finish their homework, not be able to complete their homework, unlike their peers, that is a huge disadvantage. Yeah. So there's a lot this country needs to do to make equality exist, and that comes from education, internet equality, things like that.
I do, and I want to ask you, if he had said it, I wish he had said it like you, and he had said, let's be super honest, I'm going to call it like it is, white kids have a privilege, blah, 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 and moved on from there. I don't think he meant to say that.
Well, let me stop you, and I want to hear Tori respond, because we are live. We just got this soundbite from our president. He's on his way to his vacation. He said this on the White House lawn in regard to Biden, and I'd like to hear Tori and Jeff respond.
I saw his comment. Joe Biden is not playing with a full deck. This is not somebody you can have as your president. But if he got the nomination, I'd be thrilled.
Listen, I'll agree with our president on this one. I don't want Joe Biden going into 2020 representing Democrats. I agree with our president here. Well, I'm not going to say I don't think he's playing with a full deck.
Right, of course, you won't insult, but you're going to say I'm questionable. A lot of people on my feed, or my social media feed, have said if he makes this kind of a mistake and he calls something out like this wrong, what else can he blurt out in the future as a president? And that's a very scary thing when you need diplomacy.